Chapter 22, The Movie, 1940. Jew Suisse, Sweet Jew. It said in enormous letters over the entrance. At both sides, paintings depicted heads of Jews with beards and earlocks. The movie was in its 8th week. Whole school classes and police divisions marched to it in unison. Everyone was supposed to have seen it. Because the war restricted most other entertainment, movies were the most important amusement left. And in a film so many people talked and wrote about tempted everybody. Friedrich was waiting for me outside a small soap store. I had once been reprimanded in the Hitler Youth for consorting with a Jew. Since then, we only met in those places where we were unlikely to meet people we knew. I looked at the pictures outside. Friedrich told me, "I'm really glad you're going with me. I'd never have dared it alone." While Friedrich read the reviews exhibited in the showcases, I went to the ticket window. Beneath the list price was an illuminated sign that read, "No one under 14 allowed." Sometimes that made you show your ID at the ticket window, but no one asked for it this time. And that's what Friedrich had been so afraid of. Although we were already 15, Friedrich had only a Jewish identification card. "Did you get them?" he asked in a whisper, peering around. I nodded, pleased. Both tickets in hand, I sauntered slowly toward the entrance, looking very confident, I was sure. Friedrich followed behind me, making certain I was always blocking him from the view of the lady examining tickets. But she didn't ask for identification either. She didn't even look at us. In a monotone, she murmured to her, "To your left, please," and let us go inside. Inside the foyer, Friedrich heaved a loud sigh of relief. I really don't like this stupid cheating, but a movie like this is really important for me, isn't it? We stepped into the dim theater. An usherette received us and led us to our row. Friedrich thanked her politely. The usherette smiled kindly. We were early, so we got good seats in the center of the row facing the curtain. Only a few moviegoers sat in the other seats as yet. But, nevertheless, Friedrich looked in all directions before sitting down on his folding chair. Then he stretched out his legs and enjoyed the comfortable seat. "Upholstered," he said with pleasure, and stroked the soft armrest. Meanwhile, a new and older usherette had come in. She took us over our side of the cinema, and the younger usherette went over to the other side. Then she went to our row of seats. Friedrich jumped up to let her pass. Again, she smiled, gratefully this time. "Today is the first time since Mother died that I am seeing a movie," Friedrich said softly. "And what a movie! I'm glad Mother didn't have to live through all that happened in the last 2 years. We are suffering, and not just because there's a war on." Gradually, the theater filled up. Seats were taken to the right and left of us. Many people came in to this afternoon performance. The usherettes closed the doors. Everyone waited for the lights to go out. Suddenly, the big ceiling lights went on. Over the loudspeaker, a voice announced, "We ask all teenagers to have their IDs ready." The two usherettes began to go around the rows, starting from opposite ends of the cinema. They glanced briefly at each identification card, sending 2 or 3 teenagers out of the cinema. Everything went speedily and quietly. Friedrich had grown pale. Restlessly, he slid back and forth in his seat. He'd watch the usherettes, and then his eyes would peer along our row. "Why are you getting so nervous?" I asked, trying to calm him down. "They're only checking to see if you're really 14. Just let me handle it. All you have to do is show your ID." But Friedrich behaved more and more noticeably. Everyone around us turned to stare. It embarrassed me. Finally, Friedrich bent close to me. Like a little girl, he whispered in my ear, "I kept something from you. We Jews aren't allowed to see movies anymore. It's forbidden. If they find me here, I'll be sent to a camp. I must get away. I must get away. Help me quick." The older usherette was pushing her way to us. Friedrich still hesitated. The usherette came closer. Friedrich leaped up. "Stop!" cried the usherette. Friedrich tried to squeeze through. The legs of the other people in our row were in the way. The usherette caught up with him. "I know what you're up to," she said loudly, addressing the whole room. "When IDs are examined, you disappear and hide, and as soon as it gets dark, you slink back." I went and stood beside Friedrich. Come on, out with it," the usherette asked Friedrich. "Then you can go wherever you wish." "Here it is," I said, handing her mine. "I wasn't speaking to you," the usherette said. "It's this one I'm talking to. We belong together," I burst out, but regretted the words the moment I spoke them. The usherette hadn't been listening. Friedrich was trembling, his face a dark red. He stammered, I left it at home. The young usherette had come up from behind. Why don't you leave the boy in peace, she suggested. Don't make such a fuss. It's time anyway. Friedrich pleaded, Please, I want to leave. I'll go voluntarily. Grinning, the older usherette put her hands on her hips and said, There's something wrong here. I can tell. No, Friedrich protested. Quick as a flash, the usherette grabbed a hold of Friedrich's jacket lapels. She put her hands in his pocket. And what's this here? She sneered, pulling out the case with Friedrich's ID. Give that to me, Friedrich screamed. I want my ID. He tried to tear it out of her hand, but she just leaned back, grinning, holding the case out of his reach. Friedrich behaved like someone gone mad. The younger usherette tried to calm him down. Meanwhile, her colleague was examining Friedrich's identification card. At once, her face grew serious. Without hesitating, she handed the identification back to him. Come on, she ordered. Friedrich pushed through the row and followed her to the side exit. I stayed behind him. Everyone's eyes followed us. By the side exit, the usherette took Friedrich's arm and led him outside. Reproachfully, she said, You must be tired of life. You must be dying to go to a concentration camp, eh? Behind us, the lights went out and the victory fanfares of the weekly newscast sounded.